Premier Li is the ex-premier of the People's Republic of China and a member of the Chinese Communist Party's Central Committee Politburo Standing Committee. Premier Li took his office this March at China's National People's Congress at a critical moment when China adopted new COVID control measures and started to boost economic development, social dynamism, and international cooperation.
In their typical, fairly authoritarian way, they did a very good job of suppressing the virus. There may have been a lot of individual rights that were violated there, but the overall macro effect that they achieved is kind of amazing. They had the benefit that it was really Hubei, 60 million people, and they brought in the health resources, 1.4 billion, and their ability to build hospitals very, very quickly and force compliance with masks and various other things. But they've kept the virus numbers to very low levels compared to most countries.
Do you think the fact that China went into this very strict lockdown very quickly set the tone for the way other countries responded? Because that was not really part of the epidemiological playbook before.
No, you're absolutely right. I live in infectious diseases and how you stop them. And so when we were first talking about the shutdown, I was like, wow, we're really going to do this. Are people really willing to do this? How much productivity are we going to lose by doing this? So that day we sat there in early March and said, okay, no one comes to the foundation offices, and they haven't been since. We were talking with Microsoft about it, and they did the same thing. I remember thinking, gosh, I wish we'd practice for this because it's such a novel idea. And so I think, yes, that influenced things. The idea that you would just let it rip, nobody really did that. Even Sweden, that people call out, did ask for behavioral change. They didn't do pure bans quite as much. And during the epidemic, there have been periods where it looked like their approach was smart, then it looked like it wasn't smart. That still swirls around to this day about the relative health and economic effects that they experienced versus other countries.
Founded in 1971 by Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum is steeped in authoritarianism and Marxist ideology. It's an ideology which is creeping into governments across the world. To quote Schwab himself when speaking about the Canadian Parliament,
we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. I mean, with the president, with a young global leader.
The World Economic Forum promotes globalist issues such as climate change, so-called systemic racism and sexism, and creating an online digital identity. However, closer inspection reveals the World Economic Forum is an anti-capitalist, anti-free market organisation that seeks to subvert Western values and political processes. And they are very organised and very well funded. Their message is designed to appear harmless when in fact the ideology that underpins it is revolutionary and destructive. They train aspirational leaders in their ideology and help them make connections in spheres including politics, business and the arts. The World Economic Forum has consistently advocated for the harshest and most extreme COVID measures possible, including lockdowns, mandatory vaccinations, vaccine passports and mask mandates, despite these policies assaulting many of our basic liberties. The Forum believes that your freedoms should be minimised to prevent the imminent climate catastrophe, the one that's coming for 10 years and the last 50 years, by the way. The central theme of the World Economic Forum's material is what they call the Great Reset, which is Klaus Schwab's term for the opportunity the pandemic has presented to reimagine and reinvent the economic policies of the West. The term comes from Schwab directly himself with his 2020 book entitled The Great Reset. In a now deleted video titled 8 Predictions for the World in 2030, the World Economic Forum claimed that you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, a slogan that hits the same dystopian note as work makes you free and ignorance is strength. You don't have to be a political philosopher to figure out that if you own nothing, the state owns everything. There's a word for this. It's called communism. The World Economic Forum and its affiliates shamelessly promote the abolition of private property, a central facet of Karl Marx's demented utopian ideology which led to the deaths of tens of millions of people worldwide in the 20th century. No matter how sophisticated the World Economic Forum tries to make the abolition of private property around the world sound, the fantasies of Karl Marx always lead to the crushing of individuals' liberties and lives and the expansion of the state's tyranny and power. It is imperative that we pay close attention to the World Economic Forum and do all that we can to preserve liberty and reduce government intrusion in our lives. And if we fail to do so, the anti-democratic forces in the West will continue to march on, and we may wake up to an Australia that we no longer recognise. Australians deserve to know the extent to which the World Economic Forum's influence and infiltration of our country and how far it has gone, and we're going to find out.
What underpins a world order is always the financial system. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. Most people think that digital money is crypto and private, but what I see are superpowers introducing digital currency. The Chinese were the first. The US is on the brink, I think, of moving in the same direction. The Europeans have committed to that as well.
Recall we mentioned the United Nations Habitat 1 plan that came down at the Vancouver Convention in 1976. Under this plan, all humans that once lived on farms and in rural areas, so-called wildlands, will be relocated to cities, now referred to as human settlements.
And the idea is that if you concentrate populations into specific areas or zones, less energy usage, less water usage, and less transportation. So people will have less reason to leave home. They'll stay in their homes. They may even work out of their homes. And so they're not going to be using their cars, they're not going to be using energy, and they're not going to be using water.
Since, as we saw earlier, the UN is not big on property rights, it should come as no surprise that the first private property to be phased out will be single-family homes, what socialists at UN headquarters consider suburban sprawl. Instead, we the people will live in apartments and condos in megacities near railroad tracks. Our super tall dwelling units will all be built to UN-specified building codes authorized by ICLEI, COGS, the ADA, and a myriad of NGOs and other friends of sustainable development. While the animals run wild in continental corridors, we the humans will live in transit villages and smart cities.
Smart growth, or new urbanism, is that ideology that says that you shouldn't have more space than you actually need. So if you're a couple of people living in a 3-bedroom house, well, you don't need that extra space. So why do you have it?
There's a clear, concerted effort to make it really just about as miserable as possible to exist and use your own private transportation, own your own home. All impetus and incentive, in financial and otherwise, is to convince people that it is unsustainable to live in your own home, have air conditioning. It is their duty as a human being, as a global citizen, you see. You basically exist and little more.
Our high-rise, stack and pack dwelling units, complete with smart meters and smart heating systems, will make sure no one uses too much energy. And if they do, the energy police, with help from the neighbors and eye-on-the-street surveillance systems, will be right there to handle the situation.
If they can put 1,000 people in one building, it's a whole lot easier to know what they're doing, where they're going, and how they're thinking than it is if you got 1,000 people living in a rural or suburban area. And so the stack and pack is multi-story buildings, multiple families living in the same spot, walking in and out of the same door, always being able to be managed. And smart meters play a big role in that management, as they can measure everything that you do in your life when you're using smart appliances.
If you have a garden or a single-family residence, while you're watering your garden, you maybe have more than one bathroom, you're taking too many showers, you're using more than your 10 gallons of water a day. And this is unsustainable. So you need to be removed from your single-family residence.
Anybody that's got a couple of acres of land and his own water supply and can grow his own food, these people are a threat to the collectivist society, because they aren't going to go to the politicians and say, please feed me, please clothe me, please give me shelter. That's the secret behind Agenda 21. They want people out of the country. They want corporations out there growing all the food and that kind of thing, but they don't want anybody living out there.
To describe human settlements and the food sheds that sustain them as modern-day concentration camps might be a little over the top, because with no cars, parking lots, or air travel, everyone will walk and use bikes, so they will be fit and healthy. At least as healthy as the genetically modified foods they are forced to eat will allow.
The current pandemic has brought unimaginable devastation to people's lives, livelihoods, and national economies. At the same time, the green recovery represents an unprecedented opportunity to rethink and reset the ways in which we live and do business. Now, I've long believed that we need a shift in our economic model that places nature and the world's transition to net zero at the heart of how we operate, prioritizing the pursuit of sustainable, inclusive growth in the decades to come. Having been championing climate action now for the last, 40 years, I can tell you that this isn't a fight for the faint-hearted. However, increasingly we are seeing more and more businesses, investors and consumers prioritizing sustainability and thus creating a much more virtuous circle of supply and demand. By leveraging market forces and the immense resources of the private sector, there is hope that we can transform the situation. But I'm afraid we are literally at the last hour, and there is real urgency for action. We know now what we have to do to rescue the situation, rather than going on talking about it.
Shit is about to hit the fan. Excuse my French, but that's exactly what it is. You are about to witness man-made horrors beyond your wildest dreams. The wicked globalist oligarchs are about to put every single one of us through pure hell. Life is about to be a living hell. They need this. They need this living hell to be able to bring you to your knees, whereby you will go along with anything they are pushing for you. Anything. The type of agenda they got going on, you will not just willy-nilly accept it. They don't understand this. And they did the trial run with the pandemic. They understood that they have to create something for you to want to accept the extreme measures that they're willing to go, right? And the trial run with the pandemic proved they learned a lot of things, right? They learned a lot of things from that trial run. This is why you have Klaus Schwab here. Like it says, World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab applauds the Chinese Communist Party's brutal and authoritarian COVID control measures, which included barricading people in their homes, forcibly relocating people to quarantine camps, and the wholesale slaughter of pets, among other things. China's COVID control measures boosted economic development, social dynamism, and international cooperation. So this is where they're taking it. The Chinese gave them the blueprint on how to squeeze the people, bring them to their knees. And you have Klaus Schwab here saying, yeah, they did a good thing. And all the kind of hell they put their people through during the whole pandemic thing, right? A lot of us saw those videos, right? So Klaus Schwab is saying, yeah, go China. And that model is what they're about to use, because they don't have a lot of time to be playing around. They don't have a lot of time to be playing around. They are about to show you what they're really about. And what they're really about is nothing nice. Before we go any further, all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rahakodash. Double honors to apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and continue to teach us this truth. Peace, salutation, shalom, shalom, shalom to all your brothers and sisters out there that are of the household of faith, beginning with 144,000 mighty men of the house of Israel, down to the men, women, and children that are allotted to be delivered in these latter days, who are of the elect, and to the brothers that are pushing this gospel in all sincerity and in all honesty. To you all I say shalom, which means peace be unto you, right? Not only is Klaus Schwab co-signing what China did, you have this guy here, this crazy local individual. He's just cuckoo, man, this guy. He pisses me the F off, man. Can't lie to you. Bill Gates praises China's brutal and authoritarian response to COVID. So it seems like they're all just giving China all the applause they need. Why? Because that's the same model they're about to bring in the West and all around the world. China showed them how it's done, and they're about to do this throughout. They don't have time to be wasting. So it is for you to understand. Don't get easily distracted. Don't get easily distracted, because these guys here, which is just a minion, the wicked elites, are about to put you through pure hell. Pure hell. You see, like the hell we're talking about is nothing nice. It's nothing you can laugh about. It's nothing you've ever been a part of, right? It says, in the typical fairly authoritarian way, you see, there's nothing fair about authoritarian, but that's the way he put it. They did a very good job at suppressing the virus. There may have been a lot of individual rights that were violated there, but the overall effect that they achieved is kind of amazing. So the end justifies the means, right? To them, the end justifies the means. Whatever it is that they do to get to their desired goal, well, that is okay. And if you know anything about these guys, they have no regard for human life. To you, you're just a useless eater. They've said that time and time again. That's why you have this here, Henry Kissinger. You know, he was confronted about the population agenda. He was running away from it. Let's play this real quick.
Hey, Mr. Kissinger, my name's Luke Gradowski of We Are Change. Just one quick question before you go. Obama's National Security Advisor, Jones, says he takes these daily orders from you. I was wondering, are you still giving out... Obama's National Security Advisor, Jones, says he takes his daily orders from you. And I was wondering, are you still giving out orders? Jones.
Who is John?
Jones, National Security Advisor for Obama. Jones says he takes the daily orders from you. He gave you that to talk at CFR. But I just want to know, are you still giving out orders like Memorandum 200, where you said depopulation should be in hell? Sir, just a question. I'm not going to go to hell. Memorandum 200, sir. Memorandum 200. Just asked him a question about Memorandum 200 that he wrote in April 24, 1974. It's an honest question. Okay. Kissinger, Memorandum 200. Depopulation.
We're on topic now. We came here, we give you the access. If you want to burn bridges, you can do that.
I don't want to burn any bridges. I wasn't disrespectful. I wasn't accusatory. It was a serious question.
We're on topic.
Okay, I understand that. So what about the depopulation? I mean, Memorandum 200. Why are you afraid to talk about your depopulation plan?
Why don't you get lost?
Why should I get lost? It's serious.
Sick person.
Sick person? How am I sick? You're the one committing.
That's what they did. Is calling him sick. Meanwhile, he's the one trying to unalive people, right? So I have to play that for you to understand that this guys here, they have no regard for human life in no way, shape, or form. Understand this. You mean nothing to them. Really? You don't mean anything to them. They don't consider you as anything worth. Like your life, if they should take it away, to them it is understandable, right? It is understandable that they unalive you, right? The way they rationalize it in their minds, right? So you have to understand this. You can't expect someone like this to save you. If you think someone like this is after your good, for the greater good of mankind, man, well, you are one of those. You are really a useless eater. If you believe that Bill Gates and individuals like Henry Kissinger, Klaus Schwab, and the wicked elites, the usual suspects, if you believe that, you truly believe that they are there for your own good, well, you deserve everything they're about to do to you. You deserve everything and much more. You hear what I'm saying? You deserve everything and much. See, from the horse's mouth right here. This is, to him, it is okay for them to do this. The ends justify the means, right? The translation, in order to prevent future pandemics, right, the West needs to adapt the dystopian and authoritarian ways of China. Like the conspiracy realists, as exactly what it is, have been telling us all along, China, with its social credit systems, CBDCs, digital IDs, and all-encompassing biometric surveillance state, is the blueprint for what our unelected globalist overlords intend to roll out in the West. If you allow them to, that's it. This is what we're about to face. You have this guy in Australia, he's sounded the same alarm. Australian Senator Alex Antek exposes totalitarian aspirations of Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum and his Great Reset agenda in the Australian Parliament. He's concerned about Australia because that's where he's from, but this thing is not an isolated case just in Australia. This is a worldwide thing. The WEF is steeped in authoritarianism and Marxist ideology. It's an ideology which is creeping into governments across the world. And you have Klaus Schwab in this video. Every video here I included it in this. Every clip I included it in this video here. Right? He's talking about how they've penetrated cabinets. Klaus Schwab, very proud. He was laying it all down. They've penetrated everything with their young global leaders, right? So all your so-called elected presidents, officials, whatever, they're nothing but puppets. All of them. And it's surprising to me, somebody that said they're awake or whatever, you see the bullshit, you still believe that there's a president out there out for your own good. You still believe in Trump. You still believe in whoever it is you believe in. You are lost, man. So lost. It's not even funny. It says, it is imperative that we pay close attention to the World Economic Forum and do all that we can to preserve liberty and reduce government intrusions in our life. It says, and if we fail to do so, the anti-democratic forces in the West will continue to march on, and we may wake up to an Australia that we no longer recognize. And this sentiment goes throughout the four winds of the earth. You wake up to a world you no longer recognize. You wake up to perpetual lockdowns. You will be quarantined off in these small spaces, right? And you have this lady here. She also praises China, right? China is that thing. The CBDCs, all the agenda they're looking to do. She mentioned China, right? That's all there is out here. speaking in the World Government Summit panel titled, "Are we ready for a new world order?" Well, are you? Because it's coming, and this is what it's going to look like. Under the UN plan for a total global control, known as Agenda 21, of which Agenda 2030 is a mere milestone. All humans who once lived on farms and rural areas are to be forcibly relocated into densely populated smart cities, referred to as human settlements, from the documentary Unsustainable, the UN's Agenda for World Domination, which the full documentary is here, and if you want to go through that. But this is where we are. You have this guy here, King Charles, in an address to Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum. The green recovery from COVID represents an unprecedented opportunity to rethink and reset the ways in which we live. And the ways in which we live is the unsustainable they're about to put you in. They're about to turn you into it. As big as the world is, you're about to be confined into this small cubicle, right? It's already hard as it is that we got to live in apartments. The world is a big place. Nobody's supposed to be living in a friggin' apartment, right? But that's how they want it. They have you buying water, right? The new WEF chairman is saying that water is not human rights. You know, this is the guys you're dealing with here. They're about to put you through pure hell, and all of this were prophesied. Everything happening in the world right now has already been prophesied. We are living through prophecy. This is Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, and the 1st verse. God answers the prophet. Which prophet? Well, Habakkuk in this regard. It says, "I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved." What I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, "Write the vision and make it plain upon tables." What vision? Well, the prophecy is written in the Bible. Everything happening right now is already been prophesied. We are just living through it. You see? Because this 15-minute cities, this is where the mark of the beast will function. You need the mark of the beast to get to one place to the other. You need the mark of the beast to function. You need the mark of the beast to do any kind of transaction. That's why everything is going digital. They're tokenizing everything. So that's part of the vision. Write the vision and make it plain upon tables. Well, we have it now in the form of Bible. You can even read it on through the internet. You see, that he may run that readeth it. Ultimately, you need a prophet to break it down for you. You see, that's what the prophets have been doing for a long time now. You see, for decades, especially the man of great millstone, GMS, and the head apostles on down. They've been doing it. This truth came out of One West. You can hate it all you want, but that's the fact. That's where the truth came out of. You have from Abba Bibbins to King Marshall, High Priest Yaquab, right? To now our apostles, Apostle Tahar, all these men, these great men, they've made the vision plain to where you can understand what it is that is written in the Bible, right? That he may run that readeth it. You run and tell it. You read these things and you go and tell it. Why? Well, for the vision, the 3rd verse, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, and we are now in that appointed time where the vision is speaking, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. In other words, everything written in the Bible will come to pass, will come to fruition. Though it tarry, it took a while to get here, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry, right? And we're seeing it play out on the world stage. All the prophecies playing out on the world stage. And it begins with, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him." Who is that going into? Well, the wicked elites who are Edomites, right? Their soul is not upright. That's why they're looking to tell you that the authoritarian ways of China is commendable. They applaud it. They praise it. Why? Because their soul is lifted up. In other words, their proud self is not upright, right? There's something wrong about these guys. Everything that is good is bad to them, and things that are bad are very good to them. That's who you're dealing with. but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also, because he transgressed by one. Who is this speaking about? We're speaking about the wicked elites, whose soul is lifted up, that is not upright. In other words, they're evil to the very core. Crooked individuals, man. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, right? That's why they call themselves globalists. The world agenda. They're not doing this just in their own countries. Nah, they're bringing it throughout the world. They push their philosophies throughout the world. Who enlargeth his desire as hell? Yeah, the wicked elites. They own everything. You have Bill Gates buying up all farmlands. What the hell do you need all these farmlands for? Well, it goes back. Who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death. Is as death. You had, what is his name? Henry Kissinger here, right? Running away. He wants to unalive a lot of people. They are as death. Anywhere they go, death follows them. You see? But and it's as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. They just had the open borders, and a lot of people are just pouring in, right? Because it's part of that globalist agenda. It's part of that. They can't keep it home. They are everybody's business. The wicked elites, Edomites, are in everybody's business. Goes on to say, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him? Who? The wicked elites, whose soul is not upright in them, right? And say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And if you look up that word thick clay, it means heavy debt. That's why we were living in a debt-based system. Debt, right? In other words, you have your credit cards, your debit cards, all this stuff, right? Student loans, it's all about debt, right? That's what it is. That's the system they build. They need you to owe, which eventually will break in. You will own nothing and be happy. Universal basic income. You go to Big Brother for the want of all things, right? Let's hit Micah, the 2nd chapter, and the 1st verse. The heading here says, woe to oppressors. That's exactly what these guys are. Coming up with all these agendas, Agenda 2030, agenda this, agenda that, looking to do all this stuff. And nothing but oppressors, man. The wicked elites doing all this craziness. Right? Bill, all these guys, that's what they are. This is exactly what they are. Oppressors. Micah 2:1, woe to them that deviseth iniquity and work evil upon their beds. They devise iniquity. Come up with ways to put you in a bind, man. Ways to break you down. To the point where you will own nothing and be happy. Could you imagine the kind of hell somebody will put you through that you own nothing and be happy? Could you imagine that? For you to own nothing and be happy, that means they've broken you down to the bone gristle. You've been broken down so much that any little thing they give you, the UBIs, you will say thank you and jump up and down and just go to whatever section you're quarantined off of and eat the mealworms and bed bugs, and that is them devising iniquity and working evil upon their beds. Why? When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Who gave them that power? Well, the God of the Bible. He gave them the power to do all this craziness for his purpose, so that prophecies can be fulfilled. So we got to go through this hell to enjoy heaven, because the kingdom of heaven will play out on earth. Contrary to popular belief, hell and heaven are a state. Like somebody tell you, oh man, I'm going through hell right now. Are they in actual place in the middle of the earth burning? No, they're not. It's the state of living they are. Also heaven. You say, oh man, I'm in heaven right now. It means you're doing good. You're going through hell, I mean you're doing bad. You see? It says, because it is in the power of their hand. It says, and they covered fields and take them by violence. We just had Bill Gates buying up all the farmlands, right? They take them away, man. You see? Same thing the Edomites did to the Native Americans. Took their lands away by violence. They damn near wiped out the Native Americans. They attacked their food supply, which is the bulls, I believe. you know, the meat that the meat source they eat. They killed off all the bulls, man. You know, they had that picture where it's all stacked up. It says, and they cover fields and take them of violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even the man and his heritage. You will own nothing and be happy. They will take everything away from you through violence, and they will oppress you, and they want you to smile and grin and be like, oh, thank you, master. Thank you, master, for the UBIs and for the Siri and for the microchip you put inside my head and my hand. Thank you, master. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil. So ultimately, the Most High got something for the wicked elites. Right? Because he gave them the power to do all these things, and then the Most High will turn around and punish them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil. So that evil they've been dishing out, guess what? It's going to come a time where they will get a taste of it. They will get a taste of it. Because in that day shall one take up a parable against you, and lament with a doleful lamentation, and say, we be utterly spoiled. He had changed the portion of my people. How hath he removed it from me? Turning away, he had divided our fields. Right? Take away everything you have and leave you with nothing. That's the wicked elites for you. We close out with Ezekiel, the 7th chapter and the 5th verse. It says, thus saith the Lord, an evil and only evil, behold, is come. So the wicked elites are about to put us through pure hell, which is prophecy being fulfilled, which is also the will of the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, because nothing is outside his parameters. He controls everything. It's all in his control. If you think otherwise, then you are sadly mistaken. Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, he controls everything. That's why he's the one telling you that the evil is coming. Why? Because he's the one bringing the evil. He just uses a particular type of people to bring this evil about. It says, an end is come, an end is come, the end of all things, as we know it. The end is come, it watcheth for thee, behold, it is come. Are you ready? This is the question you're supposed to be asking yourself. Are you ready? Are you still caught up in the bullshit? Still lollygagging with your thumb up your ass and twirling on it? You know, that's where you are. Guess what? You will be swallowed up, man. You will be swallowed up. You better prepare. You better prepare yourself, because what we are about to face is nothing like we've ever been through. None of us have been through what we're about to go through. It's a high time you awake out of sleep and understand that you don't have time to be playing with it. You do not have time to be playing with it, man. Get serious. Get serious, man. It's about to get crazy. It's about to get really crazy. And with that, all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, L'chal Kodash. Double honors to apostles and elders of Great Millstone. See you next time, Lord willing. Shalom. Shalom.